Hi, Sean with the Ag Center. Kind of giving some responses and questions and comments I had on the whole tariff issue that we got dealing with here in agriculture right now. I mean, despite the fact that China has imposed all these retaliatory tariffs on product and some other countries as well, really we haven't seen a price fall here on California goods to date. One, the beef side, you really don't see a lot of excess capacity in any other country in the world for additional beef. So if it gets taken from one country, it's going to resupply from another, and it's all going to kind of rebalance itself out. Seeing the same thing in almonds. Almond prices. We're hurt for a little bit with the threat of Chinese tariffs, which have been kind of light so far, but now they're kind of just shipping them in through Cambodia and Vietnam instead, who've seen huge increases in the amount of almonds that they import from us, and then I think they're just going to go in the back door through there. China's in kind of in a predicament right now. A lot of folks, one of the questions we have is, hey, what are they going to do if they dump these $500 to $700 billion worth of U.S. bonds they hold onto our market? They could do that and try to manipulate our economy, and they've manipulated their own currency for quite a bit of time. But again, they could try that, but we've got stopgaps. If there's more than 15% of U.S. bonds trade hands at any one point in time, there's stops, just like the stock market goes in. And when that happens, the market has the ability to kind of move around and readjust, and then it hurts their ability to sell bonds, right? Because they continue to get priced down, and basically they kind of scalp their own investment. The other thing they can't do too is they can't really kill the U.S. dollar by doing that, because if they do kill the U.S. dollar, a lot of folks don't understand that the Chinese are sitting on $3 trillion of United States dollars and as part of their fund, and they move money in and out of that fund to kind of manipulate the value of the yuan to keep it about in between 5 and 7 yuan to a dollar U.S. to make it easier for them to continue to export goods to us, right? It's cheaper to export goods to us because our dollar has 5 times the buying power there that their dollar has here, right? And so if they did tank the U.S. dollar, they'd tank that $3 trillion fund, right? Which would cause them to have to kind of devalue their own fund to follow the yuan down to maintain parity. And for every U.S. dollar, right, that they lose, also looking at that same thing, for every U.S. dollar they lose of export sales to us, it's $5 to $7 to them when it gets back home and when it converts to yuan. So when if they kill $700 billion worth of market with us, they're actually feeling $3.5 trillion at home in their own dollars. And so they're very tied to us. And I think the other thing you got to look at too is just the buying power of the United States. There's no place else in the world that can buy like us. They can dump goods, but if they dump goods in the EU has also their own stopgap provisions that say, hey, if you dump here, we have some automatic controls that you have to stop dumping and raise prices, or you can't bring the goods in at all. They're already doing that. We're just talking about doing it. Everybody's having a fit, but other countries and regions are already doing this to China to make sure they can't do it in their markets. And I think the other thing you can see too is the fact that we're 4.2% of the population, and we buy 38% of all the household spending in the world, right? And to give you a comparison, being how big the second largest powerhouse economically in the world is China, they're 17.2% of the population, but they only buy 15% of the goods in the world, right? So we've got a fourth of the population, but 2 to 3 times the amount of leverage as far as buying power goes. They can't live without us. And so I think what folks have to realize is we've got to be a little more patient. Things don't happen within a week. I think these tariffs are working. We've had a lot of countries come back to the table, gone to no tariffs, or come to a reduced tariff like 5% they're talking about in India, which really helps U.S. agriculture in the long run, right? Because we've got quality, we've got consistency, people want our goods, and if we can get to a point where we're at a level playing field, we'll compete very well against other commodities in the world, but we've got to allow that to happen. So that's what I've got as far as answers go on tariffs this week. Thanks.